Alright, what's going on YouTube? I apologize for the long wait of YouTube videos. I've just been taking a little bit of hiatus of editing and just wanted to focus a little bit more on live streaming and just kind of enjoying life outside of video editing. So that's what I've been doing for the past month or so. But we're back and I'm going to try and upload at least once or twice a week, more of a regular basis schedule. So, starting back off, we are back in Baldur's Gate 3. We are checking out a new subclass or mod class called the Mystic class. This is a class that was brought over from Unearthed Arcana to Baldur's Gate 3, along with all spells and subclasses. This contains features all the way up to level 20. Now, for the purpose of this video, we're only going to be doing up to level 12, and then I'll try and demonstrate some combat to kind of showcase what exactly you can do with this class. Mystics use a unique resource called Psi Points, which can be used to fuel their psionics, excuse me. The number of Psi Points can be spent at once, depends on your level, known as your Psi limit. So at level 1, you can use 2 per limit, so basically you can use 2 Psi Points per action, so on and so forth. This increases up until you get higher levels, which lets you use 7, 8, 9, etc. So there is an expansion to this as well, called the Mystic Expansion, and I highly recommend you download this if you're going to use the Mystic class, because this adds even more subclasses and more features, and also expands on the use of the Psi Points and the Psi limit. So we'll kind of dive deep into it once we get into the character creator, and I will kind of go over the process of what I've been doing with the character, and then we'll demonstrate some combat. Now, just before we get started, there is a lot to this class, and I mean a lot. If I was to try and cover every single feature that this class has, this video would probably be at least 30 minutes to an hour long, because there are so many things you can do with this class. But I'll try and give a good overview of sort of a baseline of what you can do with it. Alright, so here we are at the character creator. This is just a character that I'm playing through as my own personal playthrough. But whenever you get to character creator, towards the bottom you'll see the Mystic class, and I do have actual color ones I'm going to be covering in the future, so stay tuned for that. But this is for the Mystic class. Whenever you set the class, you get the option to select 2 psionic talents, which are going to be your cantrips. Kind of going through some of these. We have Beacon, which puts a beacon of light around yourself, which can be pretty useful for the Underdark. You have Blade Meld, which allows you to prevent yourself from being disarmed for 10 turns. Light Step increases your movement speed and being prone. So there's quite a few options here that you can pick. From my playthrough and testing, depending on how you play, if you're going to be more utility or more damage, the ones that I usually pick are going to be your Mind Slam or Mind Thrust. These do 1 to 10 psychic damage and increase as you level up. Same thing with Mind Slam, which can knock your target prone, which is really good for like small to medium-sized targets. Mystic Charm is okay if you want to charm enemies. Like I said, it's more for utility. You also have Psychic Hammer, which pushes or pull enemy. Energy Beam was also really good because this gives you the ability to select a elemental type. So you can do poison, thunder, lightning, so on and so forth. So it's one of the ones I usually recommend if you need to do elemental damage to a certain target for free. And this also scales with your level. And then you have like Mystic Hand, which is basically your Psychic Hand, which allows you to manipulate objects. Good thing about this is that it doesn't end in a certain amount of turns. So it's very useful, again, for utility purposes. But for me, because I like to do a little bit more damage, and you can select these at higher levels too, I like to start off usually with Energy Beam and Mind Thrust. And then this is where the class kind of gets crazy. We'll go back to deciding disciplines first. We'll go to the subclass. There's quite a few subclasses that you can pick, depending on what type that you want, a character you want to play. So if you do Order of the Avatar, this is a little bit more utility. Allows you to give allies buffs and enemies debuffs. You can also heal if you wish. And then, again, it's more of like a utility class archetype. You have the Order of the Awaken, which kind of delves a little bit more into damage, but also can be for utility. I believe this is maybe a little bit more stealth. I haven't really done much with some of these subclasses, so I can't say 100% certain, but the gist of it is there's so many here that you can pick from to kind of differentiate yourself from other classes, which is why I really do like this mod so far, because there's a lot of options in utility that you usually don't get. Order of the Immortal, this is more of a tanky class. This allows you to survive hits and then resurrect yourself whenever you go down at 0 hit points. Then we have Order of the Nomad. This one I haven't really had much time to take a look into, so I can't really say much about it. Just kind of based on the level 3, level 6, and level 14. This is more for movement and teleportation. This allows you to kind of get around the battlefield a lot quicker than other characters. Order of the Soul Knife. This is probably one that people are going to choose the most. This allows you to summon soul knives, which do 1 to 8 psychic damage. They're light finesse daggers, so you can dual wield them, and then you get some of the dual wield buffs and things like that. This allows you to spend side points to augment your blade, and then there's also items within the game that make the blade stronger. Restore 2 side points after reducing an enemy to hit 0 hit points with the soul knife attack. So this way you can keep like replenishing your side points if you kill with your melee weapons. And then you have Phantom Knife. Performs a melee attack against a creature which cannot be avoided. So this basically gives you a free attack that can't be avoided or dodged. So it might not be a critical, but you'll always hit with it. And then this kind of goes a little bit more higher training. Order of the Wujin. Now, I believe you can combine this with the Monk class, but again, I haven't really dabbled too much with this. This seems to be a little bit more of a utility for elementals, meaning that you can kind of combine this with either sort of like the Way of the Four Element, or if you want to be a sorcerer or a mage, this would probably be good to the kind of subclass into if you like to. Order of the Ascetic, sorry. This one, this is probably more for the monk, honestly. I got these two confused. This is more of like your monk hybrid here. Allows you to do more damage with your unarmed or monk-type weapons. Gives you unarmed defense, psychic blows. So basically, you'll do more psychic damage with these abilities, which I don't know if you want to subclass in the monk into this. You could, just so you have like 2 resources for some of your attacks, such as both your key and side points. So you could dabble with that. The class that I have the most playtime with is the Order of the Blade. This is more of a, I want to say sort of like a fighter, like a magical fighter. So I would say the best case to kind of compare to is a red mage, which allows you to do both melee and magic damage. Like, you don't really specialize in anything, but you can do everything, if that makes sense. Jack of all trades type class. You get your extra attack at level 6. Sonic Trace, which allows you to increase your movement speed. And then you get War Adept, which allows you to spec into either dual wielding, archery, throwing, or great weapon fighting. And then the last one here is the Order of the Unbound. This one is, I think, purely just for magic. This allows you to kind of like merge with the sorcery class. You have like wild magic, and I believe you actually have like sorcery points as well with this. I've done a little bit of dabbling with this subclass, but I can't really speak too much on it. But just for this video, we're going to kind of go into the Order of the Blade, just because that's the one I'm more familiar with and the one I can showcase the most. If you guys are interested in any of these other subclasses, definitely let me know, and I can try and make a separate quick video on those. But once you pick your subclass, I recommend doing this first, picking your subclass, before picking your discipline, because there are a lot of disciplines here. And every other level, you'll be able to select a bunch of disciplines, which makes this class very, very unique and can be very powerful, or it can be completely useless, depending on what you pick. By default, you start off with the Crown of Despair. This allows you to be able to gain advantage on imitation checks, which also allows you to do 1 to 8 psychic damage and prevent targets from taking reactions. Call to inaction, touch a creature and attempt to incapacitate them until it takes damage, meaning that you can basically stop them from moving in their tracks until you damage the enemy. So this could be pretty good for maybe some non-priority targets. Vision of Despair, this allows you to slow their movement speed down to 0, but still doing psychic damage. And then Dolorous Mind, overwhelm a creature with anguish, incapacitate them, and reducing their movement speed to 0. As you can see down at the bottom, depending on what spell you used, it takes up a certain amount of side points, which you'll gain more as you level up. And there's a bunch of disciplines here. There are quite a few to pick from. It's kind of hard to say which one's the best or which one you should go with. By default, you start with the Crown of Despair, but I believe you can change that a little bit later. So by default, we'll start with the Crown of Despair. The abilities here, now, Intelligence is going to be your main stat point just because you're going to be dealing magic. But depending on how you want to spec this character, you can do Dexterity if you want to use soul knives. Or if you're going to be using heavy weapons like great swords and two-handed weapons, I would say Strength would probably be your best bet. So the way I would start this class off is probably something along this lines here. Wisdom's okay. Really don't need Charisma too much for this character. Even though I'm going to be doing like a lot of like dialogue, I would say I probably wouldn't use Charisma. I'd probably bump up Strength. You could probably do something. I would probably say maybe something along the lines of maybe this. So that way your intelligence and strength are at least up to the point where they're buffed, like have like a +1, +2, or is it +2, +3? I think it's +2, +3. But I would do something along the lines of this for my character specifically, because I'm going to be focusing on great weapon fighting and medium armor. I'll probably go into heavy armor if I really wanted to, but we'll go into that a little bit later. For skill proficiencies, this is all just your choice. For me, I would probably go into perception and most likely, I want to say either like perception and maybe history or arcana, depending on how your character is. Again, this is all just your choice, so it doesn't really matter here. It doesn't really affect anything in terms of gameplay too much. From there, that's how we're going to start the character. And then we'll go into the level up process. So the first level, level 2 Mystic class. You get a health increase, and you get some new class features. You get 2 more side points. You have the ability to peer into people's minds and thoughts, which means you have detect thoughts by default. And then mystical recovery. After spending side points, you can spend a bonus action to regain 1 hit point total to 1 plus half your mystic level. So you can choose to do this as a bonus action if you're trying to regain hit points. It's not very good at the beginning. It gets a little bit better as you level up, but I would say you probably won't be using this too often. This is kind of like more for like emergency health or like if you're topping up. Level 3. You get another health buff. And you also you get more side points. You gain 8 side points, which you get quite a few side points per level, but that's also because the higher action stuff takes a lot of points to use. The amount of side points you can spend at once is increased to 3. So here's what I was talking about earlier for the side limit. So you can spend 3 per turn at level 3. So you can't spend on higher actions, and I'll kind of explain that a little bit later. You gain a cantrip, and you can gain additional psionic discipline, and then subclass feature, War Adept. When building a weapon that matches your chosen fighting style from the Mystic Arsenal, you can use your intelligence modifier for attack and damage rolls. Additionally, gain an additional ability based on your fighting style chosen from Mystic Arsenal. And this is what I was talking about earlier, how you can choose from great weapon fighting, which gives you Mystic Smite. If you're going with dueling, you get Mystic Flourish. If you want archery, you get Mystic Barrage. You can shield the 2 enemies, and then throw weapon fighting, Mystic Shockwave. So, depending on how you want to fight, you get additional abilities using your psionic abilities. So, we can choose an additional cantrip or psionic talent. For level 3, depending on how things are going, I would say if you're worried about the Underdark, then I would say Beacon's probably good. But for me, again, I built this character more to be more damaging. I would say probably either Mystic Camo to push or pull. Or if you haven't got Mind Slam, I would go with Mind Slam to make your opponents go prone, and then you can do bonus damage to them as they're prone. The next Psionic Discipline, this is where things get, like, again, this is where the class starts to open up whenever you want to build a class based on how you want to play. The one we have now is Nomadic Step. This gives you lots of options to teleport, to increase your movement speed, increase your armor class while disengaging, teleportation, things like that. So this is where if you want to be everywhere on the battlefield, this is where you could use your side points to do so. I found this useful probably when doing Shar's temple, just because I could use this character to kind of get across some of the the puzzles or the trials. But in combat, I didn't really find it useful too much. I will say transposition is good for getting your ally out of danger, or if you want to swap position with the enemy, to put them like maybe around your heavy hitters, so that way you can draw them there and they can take action. So there are some combat things that you can do for Nomadic Step, and then there's a bunch here, and I'm not going to try and go every single one of them. For me, one of the ones that I like is either Mastery of Ice. This kind of gives you abilities to use, ice abilities, obviously. Things like Frozen Sanctuary, Frozen Rain, which puts down 6 to 36 damage, and then 66 cold damage, Ice Barrier. Or if you want, you can do Gravity, which is another favorite of mine. This allows you to set up gravitational pulls to either slam opponents and do force damage, or gather them together around allies with things like Singularity or spatial compression. So I'd probably select this one next. Level 4, you get another health increase. You get more side points to use. You get another action, strength of mind. Gain proficiency in the saving throw of your choice, meaning that you can pick a saving throw permanently. So if you want to do like saving throws to strength, saving throws to dex, con, so on and so forth, this is really useful for kind of buffing up one of your weaker stats. So like say for my character, I'm going to have weak dex, and I'm going to be fighting against enemies that, you know, do like dex checks. I can do saving throws for dex for this to kind of help myself not take as much damage, or sometimes even avoid damage itself. So that's very, very useful. It doesn't cost any side points, and it's a permanent buff, and you can switch it out at any time. Here you get your first feat. For me, because I plan on going into heavy armor, I would probably do heavy armor here, or I can do Great Weapon Master, but you also have a buff for that. So this is kind of not necessarily useless, but I probably wouldn't pick something like this. Ability improvement's always good if you want to bump up your intelligence to 18 early on. If you're playing on honor mode, I would say probably alert's good, so you can not be surprised. Or since this class doesn't have like a lot of like concentration spells, Warcaster probably wouldn't be really good. You could do Weapon Master if you want to spec into another weapon type. Spell Snipe is pretty decent if you want initial cantrip, increase your crit hit by your spells. For my purpose, I'm probably going to just go into ability improvement. That would probably be what I would start with. But yeah, if you actually go with the soul knives, I would say probably dual wielder would be a good way to start as your first ability point, so that way you can get the buff for 2-weapon fighting. But for me, I'm gonna go with the ability improvement and go ahead and increase my points to 18. At level 5, we get another health increase, we get more side points to use, and our limit has been increased to 5. We actually select our, I believe, third Psionic Discipline, and lots to choose here, depending on if you're going with like a class that's kind of like used on buffs or debuffs. You can go with something like Mantle of Fear, which allows you to evoke Fury up to 3 allies, granted to 1d4 melee damage rolls, Mindless Charge, Aura of Bloodletting, so on and so forth. What I chose is I did Mastery of Stars, which gives me access to Astral Mote, which is pretty good, decent ability. It's kind of like, I can't think of the name of it now, but it's the same ability that you get as a cleric, which allows you to use a radiant attack and do additional damage on an advantage damage. Sorry. You could do have advantage on your next attack of that target. I can't think of the name of it. I apologize. Moonlight, which is actually really good for detecting enemies that are invisible and prevents them from going invisible again. Sunburst, which is a AoE attack that does fire damage and does additional damage to creatures that are sensitive to sunlight. So again, this is really good for the Underdark, and it gives them a disadvantage on save and throw as well. Star Rail, I haven't really used this too much, but basically makes a path to give movement speed increase, but they can't act on it. So basically, if you travel across on it, you get an additional movement speed buff, but you can't provide an action. So it's a concentration spell. So it's good for retreating, but I wouldn't say it's good for initiating just because you can't take an action afterwards. And then Starstorm, which is a AoE for radiant damage. Think of it like like Cone of Ice or something like that, to where it's a big radius of radiant damage. Ha, words. But usually this is what I pick for my third ability. You can go with something else depending on how you're playing. Other things are like psionic weapons. If you want to channel a certain weapon type, or if you want to do like additional psychic damage. But for me, I chose Mastery of Stars. Get more side points at level 6, health increase, and then you get the extra attack with this subclass. So now you get attack twice per turn. Alright, at level 7, another health increase, surprise, surprise. You get more side points, and then you have the ability to use up to 6 side points per turn. You get another Psionic Discipline. This is kind of thing where things get a little, like I said, interesting depending on how you want to play. You can go more damage, more utility. One that I found pretty fun was Mantle of Insanity. This basically just if like basically attacks like creatures intelligence. That was actually pretty fun to use. It does like inflict madness, paranoia, and then at higher levels you can do unending torment, which a target takes 4 to 40 psychic damage per turn. They can't move and has a disadvantage. This is really, really strong. It's a concentration spell. So if you're going with something for concentration, then you probably want to choose Warcaster as your first ability point. So that way you can cast things like Unending Torment and stuff like that. Really, really strong. But what I probably would do, and again, this is just from my character itself. Let me double check. I did Soul Reaper, just so I have like necrotic damage and be able to pull enemies closer to you. Now this is a charisma save, so depending on how your character's built, this may not be the best option. Because my character's not really strong into charisma, at least this particular character. You can also do something like Mastery of Light and Darkness, which allows you to summon a cloud of darkness. You can light up areas. You have the ability to shadow 3 Shadow Beasts, which is just like 3 cats. They do pretty decent damage, last for 10 turns. And then you have Radiant Beam, which is basically like a sunbeam, essentially. You have that, which is actually really good, especially for Act 2 in the Underdark. And then you have other abilities for else, such as like the Cloud of Disgust. But for this, we're just going to go with Mastery of Light and Darkness. Alright, at level 8, we get another health increase. We get 6 more additional side points. And now we have the ability to use Sonic Strike as basically a free way to buff our attacks that do 1 to 8 psychic damage. And this is costing you resources, it's just automatic. So you can choose to do that with each swing of your weapon. Get another feat here, and again, if you didn't select Warcaster and you're using some of those concentration abilities, this would be a good one to use. Here, if you wanted to go a little bit more heavy armored, I would choose heavily armored. If you haven't done dual wielding is also pretty good. If you're thinking about doing like a cross class, something like Sorcerer or Warlock would be good, just for like the Eldritch Blast or Wizard, just because you have a high intelligence stat, so you get some cantrips for level 1. You have like level 1 abilities, so you can do something like Minor Illusion. You can do Firebolt if you want, things like that. Mobile's actually pretty good too if you want to increase your movement speed. Honestly, you can choose it if you ever can't choose anything, then Alert's also good. You haven't chose Alert. Or Ability Improvement's also good, so you can bump up your Strength to 16 for my character. So I'm probably gonna do like another Ability Improvement, just get Strength up to 16. At level 9, we have another health increase. Get more side points. We get 13. And now we can use up to 7 side points per turn. Get another Psionic Discipline. If you want to do more of the elemental damage, you can do something like Mastery of Fire, which gives you Combustion, which levels up the more you use, more side points you use. Rolling Flame, which basically does, I want to say, Wall of Fire. It's the same thing. Detonation, which causes a explosion wherever you target it, so it's an AoE attack. Fire Form, you can put yourself in flames and do additional damage to creatures around you for 10 turns. I don't think it does damage to you, just to enemies around you. And then you can summon a Fire Elemental. It's kind of the same thing with air. You can fly if you want. Wind Stream, which is actually pretty good. Cloak of Air, which allows you to have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. And then if they miss, you deal 2 to 12 slashing damage. Wind Form allows you to fly until long rest, so it's a concentration spell. So if you use this, you can't really use another concentration spell. Misty Form, and then Animate Air. So if you want to do like a little bit more elemental damage, you can do some of these as well. Mastery of Force is actually a pretty good one as well if you want to do some force damage. You have Push, Internal Armor. Encase yourself in a well of pure kinetic energy. Increases your base armor class to 14 while not wearing armor. So if you're wearing like robes or like clothing, this is actually really, really good. I think you can use this at higher levels, the more side points you use to increase your armor level. So if you're using like a robe, this is actually pretty good. Telekinetic Barrier, manifest a wall of pressure force. Creatures within it will be in difficult terrain. Grasp, so this is actually pretty cool. So Grasp, if you grasp an enemy, you can cast Crush on it to do additional damage. which we'll try and showcase here. You can crush an enemy in your grasp, so it's basically like a 2-pointer. So the base action would do grasp, and the bonus action would be crush. Does pretty good damage, especially at higher levels if you use it. And then you have move, which technically grab an enemy, dealing damage to them, possibly the other enemies they land on. So you can basically move them to somewhere else, like either off buildings, into other enemies and stuff like that. If you want to heal, there's a Mastery of Nature. Just for the sake of this video, I would probably do Master of Fire. At level 10, we get more side points, health increase. We get another action, Consumptive Power. Tap into your own life force. We're getting 7 side points, but reducing your maximum hit points by 7. So basically, you're trading 7 hit points for 7 side points, which, if you have a pretty good healer on your team, this is actually really useful. So this gives you the option to get some side points in those last moments you need them. This only lasts until like a long rest, so I don't think you can spam this. I think you can only use it once per long rest. But still pretty good if you're running low on side points. You need to get those side points up. We get another cantrip here, which at this point, there's not a lot of these that are really useful. Blind Spot's pretty good if you want to blind a melee creature. Delusion's pretty good if you want to basically set like a minor illusion somewhere to distract enemies. Mind Meld is okay. Mystic Charm, meh. I would say probably go with something like Psychic Hammer. Again, this is more of like a damage-based character. So if you go on more like utility, there's definitely better options. At a level 11, we have the new class feature, Psionic Mystic Charge. Psionic Mystic Charges can be used to activate Psionic Masteries once per turn, allows you to cast a Psionic Discipline for free. So basically, whenever you use these, I believe you get 2 or 3. You can cast any Discipline for free without using your side points. Psionic Mastery allows you to cast a Psionic Discipline for free as an action, and without spending any side points, expends a Psionic Mastery charge and can only be used once per turn. So I believe you have to activate this first, and then you can use the Psionic Mastery. And then here at level 12 is where we're going to stop, just for the showcase of this video, but you can actually increase the levels higher if you want, up until level 20. At level 12, we get another health increase. We can choose another Psionic Discipline. Here, depending on where you're at in Act 2, Act 3, there's a lot of different options you can pick. Psionic Disruption's pretty good. Basically allows you to blind enemies, still do psychic damage, and capacitate. Mind Stone's actually pretty good. Basically causes a storm of psychic energy. And basically it's like a AoE for psychic damage. So if you want to cause disadvantage on saving throws until my next turn. So if I'm like first initiation, I would probably cast this, do psychic damage, and cause disadvantage on saving throws. This is one I would use, or you could do like a Psychic Distortion. I personally choose Psychic Disruption. I find that a little bit better. If you are more of a magic character, or basically doing magic, a good form or a good discipline to use would be the Transcendent form. This allows you to reduce the number of reduce the roll crit hit that you need by 1. The second one is Transcendence. This basically gives you a transcending your physical form, and increases the range of your discipline talents and disciplines by 50%, and doubling the duration of conditions, summons, and surfaces. However, you can't move when you use this. So if you're at like a high position, you can cast Transcendence, and then not only does your range of your disciplines increase, but like the effects of them as well, and so do the summon count. So if you have like Mastery of Light and Darkness, and you cast Transcendence, these shadow dogs that you summon will last for 20 turns instead of, or 15 turns, I'm sorry. Will last for 15 turns instead of 10 turns. You can do Psychic Brand. Brand a creature with Psychic Sigil, raising one of their stats to 19 unless it's already that or higher. Only one type of psychic damage may be activated per target at a time. So basically, this could be either used on yourself or like another enemy. So let's say I'm building a Tavern Master Monk, right? I can use this ability to cast that ability on that monk, and now I can set their strength to 19. So if I don't have like potions of giant strength, or I can't craft them, I can use this as an alternative to make sure their strength is at least 19. So that way they can still do the damage that they should be doing while not having like the Master Hill of Great Strength, or Giant Hill of Great Strength. And then we have Spectral Arms. Grant a creature a ghostly set of arms to aid them. They gain +1 to weapon attack rolls. Their capacity is doubled, and they have advantage on strength checks and saving throws. Additionally, it can choose to make a weapon attack as bonus action. So, pretty good. You can cast this probably on like your fighter or yourself if you wished to kind of give them extra attack rolls, or the rogue to give them like extra chances to crit and stuff like that. Or if someone has a very strength-based character like a berserker or something like that, this would probably be the best one to choose. So just for this purpose, I'm going to choose Transcendent Form, and then we get like another feat. Here, if you're satisfied with everything else, I would just go ahead and bump your intelligence up to 20, unless you have items that can do that for you. Here, then I would choose something like if you want to get into heavy armor for a little bit more protection, you can do that. Mage Slayer, if you want to be a little bit more effective on mages. Lucky's also pretty decent. We're just going to go with ability improvement here. You can go further into this if you want. Level 13 gives you another Psionic Mastery charge, but just for the sake of this video, we're going to go into level 12. And then just kind of give you a look at the items that I have, the more modded exclusive items. The first one is going to be the Gloves of the Mastermind. After spending 3 side points, you can cast a Psionic Talent for free once per short rest. So, as it sounds like, say I cast Mind Bend or something, I can cast another Psionic Talent for free for that turn, and it will only refresh on a short rest. Another item is the Amulet of Psychic Renewal. This gives you Psychic Renewal, which allows you to allows you to gain back 7 side points per long rest. The weapon that I'm using is the Thought Piercer. There's a couple weapons like this. The main thing that we're looking for is the Psionic Empowerment Melee. Imbuing your melee weapon with psionic energy, allowing you to use your spellcasting ability modifier for attack rolls. So basically, when I cast this, instead of using strength, I would use my my intelligence, which is my highest stat roll here. Mystic Channeling, you gain +1 bonus to spell save, DC, and attack rolls. Latent Power, while using Psionic Empowerment is active, this weapon deals additional 1 to 6 psychic damage, and then Shattered Psyche. When Psionic Empowerment is active, attacks with this weapon inflict additional mental fatigue for 2 turns. So lots of buffs for this weapon. This or any other weapon of this type is probably going to be your weapon you're going to be using until the end of the game. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but the buffs on it itself are really good. There's also a range variant called the Fail Not. Basic same thing. Only difference is as the sentient weapon. While Psionic Empowerment is active, you gain proficiency with longbows. So whenever you activate the ability, you have proficiency with longbows with this character. My character just has proficiency in itself, so I'm not worried about that. But you still get the latent power. You get 6th Sense. While Psionic Empowerment is active, you get your intelligent modifier to perception and survival checks, which is really good because I believe you get like a +5 or +6 because mine's set to 20. And we already talked about Shattered Psyche. You get the weapon enhancement +2, and then you have the Psionic Empowerment range, which is basically the same thing, but with a ranged weapon. So, essentially, you'll want to cast these for your weapons. And then you can use your Amulet Renewal to get those points back. There are other items as well that allows you to do so. There's the Amulet of Psychic Restoration, which does 3 instead of 7. So if you find both these items, you can basically restock your points up to max to prep yourself. There's also the Spell Crux Amulet. I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's the basic of this class in terms of like leveling up. I'm gonna try and get into a combat scenario to kind of showcase what this class would look like in combat, so stay tuned.
Go for a swim.
Don't know how to swim.
Watch this.
I speak, they burn. six.
Can't stay idle. What path lies before me?
Say bye-bye.
The absolutes are!
Checkmate. cool.
Gone with the weave. Indeed. Eat this!
Vis medicatrix. Enchanted.
We need everyone
Vis
alive.
medicatrix.
You've made a grave mistake.
Soldier.
The lance board is set.
Got to press on.
Nothing important is ever easy. One day, I'll catch a break.
Alright, so that's just a brief combat scenario with the Mystic class. If you guys want to see more on this class or maybe other classes, some of the other subclasses for this particular mod, please let me know. I'll try and do a quick video on those as well. I do have another video that I'm working on for the Blood Mage, so I'm going to get started on that and hopefully have that out within the next couple of days. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I do apologize for the long wait. I'm going to try and have videos out at least once or twice a week, just to kind of get slowly back into the swing of things of uploading videos and stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching, and if you're interested, please do subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, all that YouTube stuff, and check out the live streams. I do play Baldur's Gate, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and other games on the channel as well. So if you're interested in live streams, you want to interact with me in real time, there is that as well. Take care.